Emily was just 8 when she first saw him, a thin, scruffy dog sitting silently near the school gate. He didn't bark or beg, just sat there watching the children pass by with tired, patient eyes. Most kids ignored him, some teased him. But Emily, she noticed. There was something about his quiet presence, the way he seemed to wait, as if he was looking for someone who never came. The next morning, as she walked to school, she glanced behind and saw him again, this time following her. He kept his distance, never getting too close. He walked when she walked, stopped when she did. It was as though he had made an unspoken promise to stay with her. Emily didn't mind. She found herself comforted by the sound of his soft footsteps trailing behind, even if no words passed between them. Day after day, he became a part of her routine. She would leave little bits of bread or biscuits under a tree near the gate, and he'd wait until she was gone before eating. She never told anyone about how she began to look forward to seeing him, how his presence made the walk to school feel safer, warmer. To the world, he was just a stray. To Emily, he was something more. A quiet friend. A shadow that chose to follow her, expecting nothing in return. And though they never touched, a silent bond was already growing, one that neither of them understood yet. The days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. No matter the weather, rain, wind, or sunshine, the dog was always there. Waiting quietly by the gate in the morning, and again in the afternoon when school ended. The teachers barely noticed him. Some students made fun, calling him Emily's bodyguard or her ghost dog, but she never replied. She simply smiled, because deep down, she had started to care. She never gave him a name. Somehow, naming him felt too small for the silent role he played in her life. Every morning, as she stepped outside with her school bag, she would glance toward the alley across the street. If he was there, sitting patiently in his usual spot, her heart felt lighter. She would walk, and he would follow, always a few steps behind. Not close enough to be a nuisance, not far enough to be forgotten. Sometimes she'd leave a sandwich or biscuit on the sidewalk. Other times, she'd just talk to him as they walked, telling him about her day, her dreams, her fears. He never barked. He never strayed. He just listened. There was something unspoken, something gentle and comforting about their strange friendship. She had no siblings, and her parents were always busy working. But this silent, loyal creature made her feel seen. Protected. People say animals can't understand human emotions. But if you had watched that dog follow Emily each day, with such quiet devotion, you might have believed otherwise. Emily was 12 when she noticed the change. The dog. Her silent companion, wasn't as quick as he used to be. His steps had slowed, his eyes a little duller, and the limp in his back leg had worsened. Still, every morning, he followed her. Every afternoon, he waited. But something in her heart told her he was getting tired. Then one Monday, he wasn't there. She stood by the gate longer than usual, her eyes scanning the alley where he always appeared. Maybe he was late, she thought. Maybe he got stuck somewhere. But the day ended, and he didn't come. Not the next day. Not the day after that. The quiet felt heavier without him. Her walk to school became just a walk again, empty, routine, and colder. She still looked back, hoping to see that familiar figure trailing behind. But the path stayed silent. No one really asked about him. To most, he had never mattered. Just a stray. Just another shadow on the road. But for Emily, it was like losing a part of her childhood. Years passed. She went to high school, then college. Her walks were filled with people now, buses, lectures, responsibilities. But in quiet moments, crossing a street, passing a gate, or hearing a dog's distant bark, she would remember him. His silence. His loyalty. His quiet companionship that never asked for anything. She never said goodbye. Because she never got the chance. But in her heart, she never stopped looking back. It was a cold winter evening when Emily, now a young woman and a schoolteacher, stayed late grading papers. The classrooms were quiet, the halls nearly empty. Outside, the sky had turned an inky blue, and a sharp wind whispered through the windows. She gathered her things, ready to leave, when the lights flickered, then went out completely. A faint burning smell reached her nose. She froze. Then came the smoke, curling under the door, creeping through the cracks. Panic surged through her chest. She rushed to the hallway, but flames had already swallowed the main exit. She turned toward the back staircase. Locked. Coughing, eyes watering, she shouted for help, but no one answered. The fire alarm hadn't gone off. Just when it felt like there was no escape, she heard something impossible, a bark. Rough. Deep. Familiar. Through the thick smoke, a shadow appeared, low to the ground, limping, tail low. Her heart skipped a beat. Could it be? No. It couldn't. But it was. The dog, older now, ribs visible under his matted fur, stood in the hallway. His eyes met hers, and without hesitation, he turned and started walking, slowly, stopping to look back as if saying, "Follow me." Half blinded, choking, she followed him. Through a side corridor, past a broken window he somehow knew was open. He led her outside, into the cold night, and collapsed as soon as she was safe. She dropped beside him, tears falling freely. It was him. He had come back, when she needed him most. The night air was sharp, filled with flashing red and blue lights. Fire trucks roared in, and teachers and students gathered in disbelief as smoke curled from the school's roof. But Emily didn't see any of it. She was on her knees beside him, her dog, her shadow, her childhood protector, now lying still on the frozen grass. His breathing was shallow. His eyes blinked slowly, as if each moment took effort. She cradled his head in her lap, whispering, "You came back. You remembered." Her tears fell onto his fur, and for the first time in years, she didn't feel alone. No one understood who he was. To them, he was just an old stray who wandered into the fire. But Emily knew the truth. He had never stopped watching over her, not even after disappearing. He had come back, one last time, to save her. He wagged his tail, just once, and closed his eyes for the final time. Quietly. Peacefully. As he had lived. Weeks later, the town was still talking about the fire, but Emily had something else on her mind. In front of the rebuilt school gate, she placed a small bronze statue, a simple dog, sitting tall, ears perked, eyes watching. Beneath it were engraved the words. He walked beside her in silence. And when it mattered most, he came back. Children pass by it every day now. Some ask who he was. And Emily simply smiles and says, "He was my friend. The best I ever had."